Hi everyone, welcome back. You're watching Diet Dash, and I'm going to pick up a little bit where I left off yesterday um, on the fact that, America's opiate epidemic and the manuscripts of Big Pharma, and that it's connected to a lot of ancient records, like the practices in India. And I also made the connection, I guess, with records that have the Sanskrit writings. Those are Indian. So that and the connection with the Silk Road and the different Chinese dynasties and all that. And that a lot of these practices are indeed from lesser gods, from Hindu gods, inside information that they got. So, I mean, man, and this is really deep because a lot of Christians fall for this stuff too, and the Christians are definitely like an amalgamation and don't realize that a lot of their practices are from the Far East and that they are indeed, connected to these cultures. And so this just brought back painful memories, guys. I'm going to keep this vid a little shorter than yesterday, just doing it in between my work, but um, a lot of people have passed away under the guise of cancer, organ failure, and whatnot, right? When you get hurt, even for terminally ill cancer patients, which I've seen with my own eyes with relatives, at the end they're given morphine, hydrocodone, codeine, all this stuff. People don't realize that it's all connected to so-called opium, and all you have to do is look at the names of the plants, guys, and it'll tell you too the names of these so-called entities and the names of the drugs themselves. People don't respect the wordplay that they're so good at. So I guess I'm really blessed that I was a dictionary nerd, and I continue to be. I like to look up words. I'm just too curious for my own good, right? I mean, you gotta be. You gotta be to gravitate toward this stuff. In any event, so my loved ones passed away. One was given high doses of morphine. Of course, that stops your lungs. Of course, that's a form of organ failure. And they don't count those deaths the same. They wouldn't, so these are so much, this is just like estimates, right? Because I've also, even with my father, they put down on his death certificate, which I have, organ failure, very medical terms or whatever, but you won't see, drug overdose, which is what their problem was. Their bodies were already toxic and malnourished from the so-called standard care or procedure, whatever they call it. They do wordplay in that too. But, I mean, this has been a scourge, and it continues to happen because it's in different forms, right? This is what America is turning into. And so it goes back to these entities of the underworld, even if you can imagine, who put the whole population to sleep. And I was trying to recall this movie I watched as a teen. I can't remember, where they would have the poor people sleep in pods for 6 months out of the year. I don't know if anyone out there remembers that movie, but it was just, I remember the scene because it was so shocking. I was like, who the hell would do that? And this is what they're doing, right? And they just, and if you've ever watched Brave New Worlds, I have a clip from the 1980 version, which I encourage people to watch the older one, and it's free online. So I'll put that. And on my channel, this, as a so-called teacher, we're also students, because I like putting the references. Oh, I hope, don't stick on me now. Is it starting to stick? I like putting the references. Let me close it and put it back up. That way I can go back and do my own studying. I definitely, it looks like it's good, do my own studying, guys. That way the references and the links are there. And in this society, which sounds a lot like the post-World Wars society that we were born into, so this is the brave new world, because everybody, is how many people are medicated. I go to get my latte at the cafe next door, and there's a CVS in between. I pass that CVS daily, guys, and they're out there. Now they make it so easy where you can just wait in line and get your candy. And there's lines I'm like, these people have no shame. Like, gotta get your drugs, and they get their little white bag, and they think that, they're better for it. There was a picture here that I wanted to show, and they won't admit that they're addicted. And yeah, it comes in many forms, but it's all about pain relief. I can show you herbs. All you got to do is look up best herbs for pain relief. You don't think your creator put everything together, but we got other entities telling you, oh, do it this way, back to Genesis 3, like I was trying to show in my prior, all right? So a lot of connections here. I think my Zoom is working better, guys. So just to show you the name, how it comes up. So on this little quest I'm on, there's different roads. So we're going to go down this street. This went back to also that show, Dope Sick, that's out on Hulu, showing all these different families. And also Johnson & Johnson had a hand in the epidemic. So there's epidemics all over, and people not paying attention to that. And then your loved ones are not getting their voices heard because you think that felt good to be poisoned and have their organs shut down the way they did. They probably suffocated. I have it just haunts me just to even imagine. And one of the people I'm talking about was handicapped, was severely disabled, my niece. And you think the medical system had any mercy? Hell no. So poppy straw, because they go to these different places, these different countries, and they have them grow this stuff, guys. Bring it here, get people hooked in the medical system, and then when they can't get it, they're off doing heroin, and then it's a revolving door. Then they're doing methadone, like that's any better, like they're not all part of the same derivatives. So it's also known as opium straw, mode opium straw, crushed poppy, capsule poppy chaff, or poppy husk, is derived from opium poppies, Papaver, somniferum, that are harvested when fully matured and dried. I just wanted you guys to really see, because I'm going to click on this next, but look at that word, somniferum, because there's an entity with that name. And so they use, mechanical means, obviously. With the poppy plant, they get the seeds, and that's where we get poppy seeds from. So that's how they curtail a lot of these laws. But then they use the other parts, like the milky latex, whatever, dry latex, as raw opium, which it says here, it's how it's done. Traditional harvesting of opium poppies to produce opiates involved the labor-intensive work of making shallow cuts in the immature fruits, seed pods, so that the latex would leak out and dry, then returning the following day to scrape off the dry latex known as raw opium. So on my quest, just to show you what they look like, you see, very interesting, huh? And of course, they make the morphine, so it's all the same, and it's all about, anesthetizing your pain. Like, life is painful. You need to feel what's going on, and there are other ways for inflammation, because I've had surgery and didn't take any of the scripts and just use herbs, and it was okay. And it says, so we were here yesterday, Papa somniferum, and of course it's a derivative. It's a species of flowering plant in the family Papaveraceae. It is the species of plant from which both opium and poppy seeds are derived from. It is also a valuable ornamental plant grown in gardens. Its native range is probably the Eastern Mediterranean, but is now obscured by ancient introductions and cultivation, being naturalized across much of Europe and Asia. This poppy is grown as an agricultural crop on a large scale for one of three primary purposes. The first is to produce seeds that are eaten by humans, known commonly as poppy seed. The second is to produce opium for use mainly, there you go, who's the biggest drug cartel out there, guys? The pharmaceutical industry. The third is to produce other alkaloids, mainly thebaine and oripavin, that are processed by the pharmaceutical industries into drugs such as hydrocodone and oxycodone. Each of these goals has special breeds that are targeted at one of these businesses and breeding efforts, including biotechnological ones that are continually underway. A comparative small amount of Papaver somniferum is also produced commercially for ornamental purposes. And even that word thebaine too, because it depends on what avenue you want to go down. But I'm just going to show you a little bit today. Like I said, this could take a lot of different vids. But like they name it after like the places that they learned the stuff from, and this is from the Greek. Thebae, or Thebes, known to the ancient Egyptians as Waset, was an ancient Egyptian city located along the Nile, about 500 miles or 800 kilometers south of the Mediterranean. So, they name it after these places, and of course, high doses. It causes convulsions similar to strychnine poisoning. And I was going into some of the Indian records, right, and the manuscripts in my prior vid, when they get this darn information from. So it is from partaking of the tree of knowledge, which the fruit is poison, guys, okay? Not an apple like you think. But when you go into the history, you get a lot of interesting tidbits too, guys. It just keeps going and going. So if you go into history, use of the opium poppy predates written history. The making and use of opium was known to the ancient Minoans. Its sap was later named opium by the ancient Greeks, from where it gained its modern name of opium. Evidence of the early domestication of opium poppy has been discovered through small botanical remains found in regions of the Mediterranean and west of the Rhine, predating circa 5000 BCE. These samples, found in various Neolithic sites, were shown the incredibly early cultivation and natural spread of the plant through Western Europe. Yeah, and I was also reading from the book of Jubilees, chapter 7 and 8, that, these are records that Noah would have been furious about, because these are the contents of the Watchers that obviously are not in the best interest of humankind. Okay, the damn snake people don't care about you guys, again, this is what happens. It's supposed to be in God we trust. Do people really believe in God? I don't think so, because so many people are crying out from the ground. Their souls are not at rest because they have been taken out too soon and been lied on, and everyone's just like almost using their deaths as a form of sympathy. I'm seeing a lot of that online. Almost like I guess that's what Christianity's all about. They want you to die so they can use your pictures and tell everyone, oh wow, my loved one's dead. This is like really sick, guys. You think that can't happen? I've seen it. Opium was used for treating asthma, stomach illnesses, and bad eyesight. So when you're dealing with these chemical institutions that are trying to tell you pills and potions all the way, you better freaking check yourself and ask where they got it from. And if you think that it's all scientific. Science just means knowledge, the knowledge of the tree of evil, of good and evil, and that they just partake in evil. They think that if they do enough evil or whatever, like, and then do some good, like in their stupid charities, they can balance it out. Like, these people, like, so backwards. But also with the history of it, you'll see it right here. Opium becomes a major colonial commodity, moving legally and illegally through trade networks on the Indian subcontinent. Colonial America, I guess this is pronounced Qing, China, which goes back to the Qing dynasty, which actually was preceded by the Ming dynasty. And I guess before the Ming, I think that was the Tang dynasty, if I'm not mistaken, and others. Members of the East India Company. Oh, what flag does that look like? The United States and also Britain. Nothing new under the sun. They're still here. Saw the opium trade as an investment opportunity beginning in 1683. In 1773, the governor of Bengal established a monopoly on the production of Bengal opium on behalf of the East India Company's administration. The cultivation and manufacture. So this goes to show right here the United States are Indian, because look how they called themselves before. People don't understand. They just like changed the name. Indian opium, look at that. Indian opium was further centralized and controlled through a series of acts issued between 1797 and 1949. East India Company merchants balanced an economic deficit from the importation of Chinese tea by selling Indian opium, which was smuggled into China in defiance of Qing government ban laws. This trade led to the First and Second Opium Wars. Oh, wow, so the Qing dynasty wasn't about that shit. So look at that. So that was the precipice that started that. Many modern writers, particularly in the 19th century, have written on the opium poppy and its effect. Notably, Thomas de Quincey in Confessions of an English Opium Eater. The French Romantic composer Hector Berlioz used opium for inspiration. See all this demonic possession? Subsequently producing his Symphonie Fantastique. In this work, a young artist overdoses on opium and experiences a series of visions of his unrequited gift shop items, like shirts depicting the poppy and packets of the royal heirloom seed. Opium poppies. So if people didn't know about Thomas Jefferson, and this is where I found the connection back to the deities, was opium poppies, flower and fruit appear on the coat of arms on the Royal College of Anaesthetists. So I just wanted to show you where I got that from, all from this, and then you see this word, it makes you think of Soma, which if you guys haven't seen this movie, just listen to. Funny.
Office. Oh, about my trip, no doubt. To the Savage Reservation, Yes. I think they're canceling it on you. Cancelled? They couldn't. They wouldn't. Not when I've made plans to. Where is it? In the file. There must be some mistake. I had everything planned. How would something like that look on my computer file? You better take a Soma. Yes, that's just the thing. Here you are, sir. I guess you won't be going on your vacation now.
So you gotta take that Soma. And in this one too, it shows you like who's in charge too. It's like a melanated woman, this lady, which is the Iman or Aman, which in the Brave New World there was a gentleman, but it was from this nation. Like, these are the Boule, and they when you look up the deity of Aman, they or the Iman, I guess they control life and fertility, which the show is all about. And, what do they do now? They definitely do that. These are the two main characters in the new one. It doesn't really hold a candle to this one, but it does show also like who the world controllers are, because they kept it, really in sync. But then you go to the coat of arms just to show you these up close pictures. This is definitely Alice in Wonderland stuff. This is so crazy. But yeah, just because it's natural and, organic, so you have to distinguish between what's righteous and what's wicked, okay? Because the witches deal with toxic herbs, and that's why I say the medical system is completely rife with that, right? So you go to the Royal College. This is under the history part, so we can see. I just wanted to show you because it tells you on the coat of arms like who they pay homage to, their coat of arms and motto. So I'm going to bring that up so you can see. The coat of arms of the college shares some symbols and features with that of the Royal College of Surgeons of England. It also incorporates coca leaves to symbolize local anesthesia and opium poppy heads to symbolize sleep. Isn't there like a movie, remember Dr. Sleep? That was kind of crazy, right? The poppy head is symbolic of the Greek god Hypnos. The figures on either side of the shield, known as supporters, are two pioneers of anesthesia. Oh, look at Jon Snow. Oh, I can't. Now I'm really thinking about Game of Thrones. I'd like to reference that show. Well, 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 well. Look what we got here. This troll. And Joseph Thomas Clover. The college's motto is Divinum Sedera Dolorem. Dolorem. It is divine to alleviate pain. Yes, at what cost, though? At what cost? So you got the term Hypnos. Of course, they mess up the noses of all of these statues. So, could have been a melanated person, and they just do that. So it goes to show, not a color thing, definitely a spiritual thing because of the abode. And they say it's like the relative guise of death. Too funny. And so it's the personification in Greek mythology. Hypnos from ancient Greek means sleep, is the personification of sleep. The Roman equivalent is known as Somnus. His name is the origin of the word hypnosis. So of course there's your soma. There is your soma. It goes back to this entity. And when you read about this entity, it's too interesting. In Roman mythology, Somnus, sleep, is the personification of sleep. His Greek counterpart is Hypnos. Somnus resided in the underworld. According to Virgil, Somnus was the brother of death, Mars. See, that could be like Mars too almost, right? So close. And according to Ovid, Somnus had 1,000 sons. The Somnia, dream shapes who appear in dreams mimic in many forms. Ovid named 3 of the sons of Somnus. Oh, look at Morpheus. There you go. Who appears in human guise. Aislos or Phobiter. Look at that. Also called the Frightener. Is that Freddy Krueger right there? That's too funny. Who appears as beasts, and Phantasos, who appears as inanimate objects. In the Greek tradition, Hypnos, sleep, was the brother of Thanatos, death, and the son of Nyx, night. According to Hesiod, sleep, along with death, lived in the underworld, while in the Homeric tradition, along the land of dreams was located on the road to the underworld near the great world encircling river Oceanus, nearby the city of Cimmerians or Chimerians. Sleep himself lived on the island of Lemnos. Virgil, following the Greek tradition, Virgil makes sleep and death brothers and locates their dwellings next to each other near the entrance of the underworld. In the first courts and entrances of hell, sorrows and vengeance cares on couches lie. There sad old age abides, diseases pale, and fear and hunger, temptress to all crime, want base and vile, and two dread shapes to see, bondage and death, then sleep, death's next of kin. Somnus makes a brief appearance in Virgil's, I don't know how to say that, Aeneid. Virgil has Somnus cause Palinurus, the helmsman of Aeneas's ship, to fall asleep while steering the ship at night. Somnius, in the guise of Phorbas, a shipmate, appears to Palinurus and offers to take over so that Palinurus might rest a while. But Palinurus refused the offer, so Somnus uses a branch imbued with the power of Underworld's river Styx to sprinkle Palinurus with water from the river Lethe, the Underworld's river of forgetfulness. See that? Palinurus then falls asleep, and Somnus pushes him overboard. So, and this is interesting too. Somnus and his sons, the Somnia, appear in Ovid's poem Metamorphosis. This is a great reference, guys. I'll have to go into this sometime. Ovid, like Virgil before him, followed Hesiod in making sleep a denizen of the underworld. However, recalling the location of the land of dreams in the Odyssey, Ovid also locates the dwelling of Somnus near the land of the Cimmerians. Look at that. Ovid has Somnus live in a cave, describing the home and chamber of sluggish sleep as a place where Phoebus the sun can never enter with his rising noontide or setting rays. Clouds of vapor breath forth from the earth in dusky twilight shadows. There no wakeful crested cock with his loud crowing summons the dawn, no watchdog breaks the deep silence with his baying, or goose, more watchful than the dog. There is no sound of wild beast or of cattle or branches rustling in the breeze, no clamorous tongues of men. Their mute silence dwells. In keeping with this theme of silence, Ovid says that Somnus' house has no doors, lest some turning hinge should creak. Like Virgil, Ovid associates Somnus with the underworld's river Lethe, which Ovid has flowing from the bottom of Somnus's cave, and whose waves, gently murmuring over the gravely bed, invite to slumber. Near the entrance bloom sleep-inducing poppies. Look at that, guys. That's where they get it from. And other herbs, which knocks night. So there you go. That's where they get the whole Alice in Wonderland. It's really the underworld, really freaking hell. Look at that. Sleep-inducing poppies. And isn't that related to death? And other herbs, which knocks night, uses to spread sleep over the darkened lands. That's what's going over right now in America, guys, and all over the world. They are putting everyone into this darkful sleep, guys. This is so deep. If you haven't looked down these roads, and there's a song that's out there that I finally understand the lyrics now after reading the stuff. Although Ovid connects night with sleep, he makes no mention of night being sleep's mother, as she is in Hesiod. In the center of the main character, Somnus lies in languorous repose on a downy, soft, black couch surrounded by his innumerable sons, the empty dream shapes, Somnia vana, mimic in many forms, many as ears of grain in harvest time, as leaves upon the trees, as sands cast on the shore. Ovid names 3 of these form-mimicking dream shapes. Sounds like shape-shifting to me. Watch out for your dreams. That's why sometimes they do take on forms of whatever. Do not even, don't feed into it, because it's a lot of deception too. So, it's good to try to analyze your dreams, but remember that a lot of deception happens in your dreams too. Morpheus, Isolos, Phobiter, and Phantasos. About Morpheus, Ovid says no other is more skilled than he in representing the gait, the features, and the speech of men, the clothing also, and the accustomed words of each he represents. See that? Another son called Aislos by the gods, but Phobetor by men, takes the form of beast or bird or the long serpent. And a third son named Phantasos puts on deceptive shapes of earth, rocks, water, trees, all lifeless things. In Book 11 of the Metamorphoses, Somnus becomes involved in Ovid's telling of the love story of Ceyx and his wife Alcyone. Ceyx has died in a storm at sea. Juno, the queen of the gods, sends her messenger Iris to the sleeping Somnus's cave to command Somnus to send a dream to Alcyone in the form of Alcyone's husband Ceyx. Arriving at the cave, Iris brushes aside the many sleep insomnia blocking her way, and her brightly gleaming clothes wake Somnus from his deep slumber. Iris addresses Somnus as "Thou rest of all things, sleep mildest of the gods, balm of the soul, who puttest care to flight, soothest our bodies worn with hard ministries, and preparest them for toil again." Oh yeah, more work, right? That's how it is too. And in that movie, Dope Sick, they were all coal miners. So they target people who have really labor-intensive jobs, and then try to make it like it's noble to freaking break yourself for this wicked system. So what? Your tax dollars can go bomb other nations, so more poppies can be grown on their land, and then sent over here as in the form of candy. Then orders right here. Then orders Somnus to fashion a shape that shall seem true form to be sent to Alcyone. Iris immediately leaves before she herself is overcome with sleep, and Somnus wakes Morpheus to carry out what Juno has commanded, then goes back to sleep on his couch. Like other gods associated with sleep, Ovid makes Somnus winged. Look at that. Could be a dim gargoyle. See that, guys? So just there's a lot to do with that too. So the poppy field is definitely reminiscent of on the underworld, and now I'm starting to really understand this song, Fair Use, Fair Use. And this song is not, this is for fair use and education, because how it's all connected, because he's obviously talking about the underworld and being low, and he's not talking about cannabis. This is definitely hard stuff, right? And so it's just a very interesting, some of the stuff that's said here. Now I totally understand what the song was trying to convey, so you guys should listen to it again. I'll put a link below so you can, I like the lyric videos because you can read for yourself and see what they were trying to convey, right? If you didn't really, hear what they were saying over the radio. There you go. 1,000,000 poppies gonna make me sleep. Just one rose that, oh man, the lyrics say it all. But just one rose, it knows your name. The fruit is resting on. Yeah, so the fruit of the tree of knowledge probably is poppy, right? The vine. The fruit is calling from the trees. Don't you wanna go down? Like some junkie cosmonaut. I like how he disses the, because this is the Russian form of astronauts. Like, what did they really do? Was it a mission to hell? Was it a mission in their head? Like, and he's saying that, you know, almost alluding to a lot of them are partaking in this stuff, you know, when you say someone is spaced out, they could be really drugged up. So he said like a disgraced cosmonaut too. That was really funny. Let me see if we passed it. But you know, he really goes into it. All right, here. So I'll put this because now you'll look at it a little differently. Why would an astronaut be disgraced? So he lets out so many secrets out of the bag. He let so many secrets out of the bag. Oh man. Oh man. Because of the big lie that people, you know, people are like children. They think all this is gonna go past the Van Allen radiation belts, right? That's supposed to melt you on impact or whatever. Yeah, why don't they? I know. They did it once, so they don't have to do it anymore, right? But he was alluding to this, and look at their faces, like, why would a cosmonaut, which is funny, because are they Russian agents? I've been talking about the Red Invasion, right? The so-called Cold War, how it never ended. They just infiltrated. And, you know, what do they do thereafter? This dumb shit. It says, do these look like guys who just traveled successfully to the moon and back? I mean, that's a really good question. So that song, you know, and I think Red Hot Chili Peppers had a song, I forget it now, that like made fun of them too. Or are they being forced to lie and say, you know? Very interesting stuff. So that song says more than you can even imagine, guys. More than you can even Alright, guys. So yeah, that song, I'll put it here. It all relates. I'm gonna keep this on a shorter level because just to keep it all in perspective, because it can get overwhelming with too much information in one vid, and it just goes back to these entities, right? And to you know, the names of some of these plants and all that, and you know, and the coat of arms of the royal societies. That tells you a lot too, because they give homage to these entities too. So where is this place located? This is right here. Churchill House location of the Royal College of Anaesthetists. So, you know, pain, critical pain, pain. Oh, poor things. Let's see, best herbs for pain and inflammation. There's just so many. I'll find one here that I recognize. But there's many, you know, there are so many herbs that people don't try. Don't waste your money on these. Look at that, how much they spend on it. It's just crazy. You know, natural painkillers. The Most High already put it here. Of course, you got assholes trying to profit. But all you got to do is put, you know, I love spices. I love herbs. I'll actually print this out. This is great. And I'll put this down below too, guys, because I like to give solutions. You know, and it says herbs and spices are for more than just making food that tastes good. There are natural painkillers that for you on those days when life is really bad. And people don't believe me. I'm like, I took turmeric after surgery. And it says, the pungy flavor here. Turmeric is a great anti-inflammatory, and I talk about ginger a lot. And look at the first two. And it says turmeric, this pungent yellow spice, gives curry its distinctive color and flavor. Turmeric contains curcumin, an anti-inflammatory that competes with commercial painkillers for effectiveness, but without the side effects. Curcumin is also very good at destroying some forms of the C word. I know now my mouse is starting to act up. So annoying. But I'm going to wrap this up, guys, because I don't want to make it long. And got to get back to the grind, as they say. But just to show you how there are entities, that they follow. So don't let them tell you, oh, it's not a church or this and that. And all of that is for fair use and education. So they better not hold my vid back or whatever, because you got people putting up the whole song, right? And with the lyrics, which is fine because, it's on a public forum, so it should be allowed. It's already on the public domain, as they call it. So it should be allowed to sample because the lyrics go back to so much of like the crisis. And why weren't these people given a chance? My loved ones weren't given a chance to do this. I was sneaking it in anytime I could, but when you have all these toxins, your body can only do so much because your metabolism is spending all its time trying to get rid of it. So like it can't, the herbs can only do so much. If you're poisoning yourself, you got to stop poisoning yourself and give your chance of body a time to heal and do what God intended it to do, and stop partaking in the tree of good and evil because it's obviously poisonous fruit. But give turmeric a chance. Ginger is related to turmeric and has inherited many of the same health boosting properties. See that? Ginger has been shown in studies to be as effective as commercial. Of course, it's even more. Minus key. All the side effects like stomach bleeding. Oh, nice. That's charming, right? If people can't spot freaking evil witchcraft in front of them, I don't tell them. Heart damage, really? For pain, you're going to be in more than just pain after taking some of this stuff. Kidney problems, so many people have kidney failures. Then they go into the other realm, organ transplantation. That's a whole other Freddy Krueger nightmare we'll dive into. High blood pressure. So the candy gives you high blood pressure. How many people, my lovely mother is taking blood pressure pills her whole life, saying, Jesus this, Jesus that. Like, obviously, you're deceived and you're following the wrong God, or, you should follow the Most High. And that's what happens. Like when we fornicate spiritually and we sell out, then he lets you deceive yourself. He'll let you fall into these traps or whatever. He's like, oh, you don't want to listen to me? You want to listen to these serpents? Like, you don't have trust in me that made all these entities that you're trying to listen to like an idiot? All right. Find what you love and let it kill you. And that's a real saying too. And I believe that was definitely not just made by whatever person that's out there, because that's deep. And I think that's exactly how he feels half the time, because we're supposed to love him and he'll keep us safe. I always talk about cayenne pepper. Really great, because the capsaicin is the compound in peppers that give them their spicy bite. And it's but it's when it goes into your body or whatever, it's right here, this compound is an irritant that creates a sensation of burning on contact. This irritation results in the nerve cells depleting their pain transmitting chemicals, along with prompting a flood of the body's natural painkillers, anti-inflammatories, and endorphins. This works well externally. Capsaicin comprises a main component in over-the-counter arthritis creams. Internally, you get some of the same effects as it hits your mouth, but then you also get fighting abilities. You almost can't say it here because they'll go crazy, right? Improved circulation, ramped up metabolism. How many people are selling bullshit products up there when you can just buy some cayenne that will increase your metabolism, get you all heated up? It's great. And reduce cholesterol. Cinnamon, also great for arthritis pain. Coriander. This is great. I'm going to print this out, guys. So please avail yourself to that. You got to get away from all this sorcery, because it goes back to this, and they want to control us, and they want to sedate you, like in the Wizard of Oz and stuff. And this is becoming so horrible. How many families are being destroyed? And you think that they're out of the woods when they go to these methadone clinics. That's exactly that's another form of these derivatives. If you look at all these derivatives, and these two are no different. Don't be deceived, because a lot of people crush the candy and then they put it in that, right? So the stuff that people are getting, like, could be, it's definitely like a mystery concoction, right? It's all the same. So if people think, oh, one has nothing to do with the other, that's bull crap. And how many people have been victims in the medical industry on their death certificates say, organ failure, natural causes, cancer, but then you read their charts and you see, or you see the type of candy that is prescribed and given, and you got these flying monkeys, these idiots in your so-called family giving it to this person, giving it to this person. So look, it is like a curse too, because there's a lot of Caucasians this happening to, and they say Caucasians have done a lot of shit in history to God's people, the Israelites, and they support the United States corporation that works for Britain or whatever and does all these wars and all this stuff, and they don't care that poppies are being grown in indigenous lands. I put up that they're growing it in Tasmania. That's an island near Australia and stuff. And yet there's sellouts in every nation. But we need to worry about what's in our backyard and just look around. I see, ambulance after ambulance showing up at people's houses, and you're just like, yeah, they're probably, and there's cross indications. My father was given 9 different type of candies. Yeah, so the interaction alone, I'm surprised he even lasted the year and a half that he did. It must have been really strong, right? And I feel for my other relatives too, because their voices are not heard. And I just lost another cousin to the so-called C word, but I'm sure they were giving her plenty of different pain medications and all that, right, to put her down for good. And the people in these societies, they don't live long. I think they, check out when they're like 30 or 40 or whatever. So living this chemical lifestyle isn't freaking helping us at any rate. Yeah, you're gonna feel no pain, but at what cost? I mean, if you have an injury, it's still gonna be there. It's not fixed. You got to do physical therapy, and even physical therapy is pretty painful. You really got to push through it. I went through it. I pulled my neck, and just having to stretch it and make it get better, I had to endure so much pain that week, and I didn't go running out and take anything. I was using ice packs, turmeric, all that stuff, and just begging the Most High to heal me. And guess what? In due time, in a few days, that's what happens. No, you won't die of pain, all right, unless you're getting all amputated and you freaking bleed out and all that. But just to have some throbbing pain, guys, or whatever, no, you could be all right. And I know pain. I had a child natural. I'm a woman, so I deal with pain all the time. I have a bad tooth from bad dental work or whatever that I got to take care of. But in the meantime, I don't go running out taking crazy painkillers or whatever. You won't even see an aspirin up in here because I know that damages the liver. So yeah, check out this song. Too funny, guys. Too funny. I just loved it because just this picture alone. That's a whole other thing. But you're going to start listening to these things in all these royal colleges. They distinguish it. Everyone thinks, oh, they're so scientific. They're not religious. They're not this. They're not. Give me a break. I'm trying to put these connections to show these are the roads that intertwine to show you that is not the case, that it is quite the Babylonian religion, very ancient, probably goes back to the Sumerian time, like I said in my prior vid, from the pre-flood era, thus angering the Most High, one of the reasons, why he had to bring a flood upon this earth or whatever. People just don't get it. We need to learn from history or we're doomed to repeat it. All right, guys. So thank you so much for watching. I will talk to you guys soon, and I will definitely work on this topic. And so, yeah, we need to get away from this junk and get to the herbs. Look, so many wonderful pictures. You could just print it out, put it on your freaking fridge. That way you can remind yourself they exist, they're out there, they were there, and this is the righteous stuff. This isn't just, oh, using freaking toxic crap. And I did a vid talking about aloe. How many people with back pain? Have you even thought of that? I mean, I'll just leave this up too. Take a screenshot, look it up. There's just many different types of herbs that are just so amazing. But on the flip side, these, like I said, there's the right way and the wrong way, and they think in their deluded psychopathic mentality that you can take toxic shit, toxic herbs, and turn that into medicine. Well, yeah, we don't believe in all that nonsense here. I haven't tried Devil's Claw. I don't even know about that name. But, yeah, I know cloves are good. I wouldn't try valerian. There's some that I'm just not. The ones that I have tried are ginger, chamomile, rosemary. Willow bark is great. That's the natural derivative of aspirin, so just get willow bark. Turmeric, of course. Cayenne pepper, so just get that. That stuff's good. You don't want to get too funky. You don't have to get too funky. Just make sure you look up the history of each herb before you use it. All right, guys, have a great day. Thank you.